Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome, beautiful soul, to a new episode of Soul Love. And today I have the honor and I feel very excited to share a beautiful conversation with my beautiful soul sister, Sherry Lynn. And I am excited because she also wrote a chapter in Soul Love, the book. So I welcome you within this sacred space of heart-centeredness and beauty.
Thank you, Kim. And hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me, Kim. It's so exciting to be here with you again, having another sacred conversation.
I'm excited, and it's such a beautiful way. Maybe we can already just dive into the beautiful topic, like in the book you shared about the divine feminine. It's interesting. Last week we also had a podcast about the divine feminine, but what I really love about your sharing your story, and it's about how you surrendered to this deeper, to the divine within you, in everything that happened in your journey, in your life, every initiation that came on your path. You deepened into love, into trust, and it's I think it's an inspiring story for everyone tuning in to hear. And maybe you want to share a little bit about what comes up for you to be shared in this now moment.
Sure. So the first thing that comes up for me is that my journey was a long one, but what I've learned was at the beginning, as things were collapsing, it was still very much my personal self who was attached to the outcome, who was trying to make things happen the way that she thought they should happen. And it just watched everything collapsing like dominoes coming down, which was about a 10-year period. But at some point when I had an experience with my eyes that my outer world didn't make sense. It was an invitation for me to go within, because really the outer world was wonky. And up until then, my interpretation of God was inaccurate. And I didn't even feel deserving of, I remember with my eyes, everything being very frightening, like it really was. I remember even lines in my floor, just the little tiny lines between the wood grains. It looked like everything was lifting.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, it brings me back to tears because it was frightening. And when it first happened, I woke up one day and half of a picture was erased.
Yeah.
And I had just had a tear in my retina and he had repaired it, but something happened and the macula folded over. And so everything was really weird. And when I saw him, he said, it's the other eye I'm more worried about. So for about a 4-year period, I could still see, but it wasn't very clear. It's weird because it's almost sort of like a symbolic interpretation of what life really is. So symbolically, my higher self was showing me the eyes, the lens that I see outward was inaccurate. It was a misperception. It wasn't clear. It wasn't a clear vision.
Yeah.
And so clear vision began as I started my journey within, and then slowly discovered that the God that I had heard about was already the divine within me. and it wasn't this man in the sky
No.
that I
No.
was looking for forgiveness from.
Mm.
And forgiveness was definitely part of my journey, but most of it at first was outside.
Yeah.
But once I discovered it was more about me and really letting go and surrendering and the things that I was still holding on to and thinking that it was an injustice to me,
Yeah.
that's when all of a sudden waves of energy began to come through me, through the heart.
Yeah.
And I slowly went through the heroine's journey. And it was beautiful because it really was moving myself away from what I had known.
Yeah.
Letting that person go, even the people within that, it was good because I had moved out of a city that I had grown up in and identified myself as, into a community where I didn't know anybody. And then my eye experience really didn't have me engaging much with the community. It was more of an inner journey.
Yeah.
And so for 4 years, I was on that inner journey, but now I consciously have surrendered to that inner.
Yeah.
You know, when they say universe is like you in verse, the universe is
that.
within,
Yes.
is discovering that was true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so I love, as you shared, I think it's so interesting, and I in my own way, but how sometimes our soul calling is so loud that it's really also really physical in our face. So your soul was asking you to rediscover your truth and to go within to witness your beauty and your connection and your divinity. And but it was really through making the eyesight outside away. And I think it's so beautiful that and when you're in the middle of it's painful and it's terrifying, but when you can surrender into that, I don't like the waves of deeper connection, the waves of truth and the waves of love, beautiful things open up. And I think it's a beautiful testament to the resilience that we all have within ourselves. Like I don't know what was like your anchor. Well, what was your, in those moments of fear and in those moments of the uncertainty of not knowing how this would unfold, like what was your...
I think what it was for me, Kim, was that I always knew I believed in a higher power, but I didn't believe in the stuff that had what my mind had been fed earlier. And so there was that anchor in believing in something greater than myself that created me, and just having total faith in that, and allowing whatever was going to happen. Not this need to fix my eyes, because I knew that every time I tried to fix something, it did the opposite. It fell apart. So it was really just a way of coming into union or communion with the divine within. And in fact, it was so weird because up until that point, I'd never gone to church. Maybe a few times I tried, but it just wasn't right for me. And in fact, when my mom tried to take me when I was little, she never took me again, because there must have been something in me as the soul that knew that I was not going to do that journey again. And so I became the rebel child.
Yes.
And she didn't take me. That was the end.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually grateful for. And because then I was able to form my own. I longed for that connection. I saw it through religion, and I longed for it because I think that's beautiful. The ceremony, the sacredness, it was always the music and stuff that sort of got to me.
Yes.
But it was my own experience of how, at first I thought I was trying to get there. Instead of get here.
Yes.
I didn't know. You don't know that until all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow. And then there's still obviously more unraveling that I don't know, but I do know the heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Is the way.
I love as you share, because it's truly, it is reconnecting to our inner truth and reconnecting to this empowering state. And that can be in many forms. And it is through the sacredness of life and through the ceremonial being that we get to go within, and that we get to be still because I think for in the sacredness, we are also more, we're able to witness more or something. So, and I think that's beautiful in ceremonies or in anything else. It really allows us to become still and to become aware, and to, because when we're just in busy life, things just take us over, and we suddenly don't see the messages sometimes, or we don't see the little things that are guiding us. And it's in those moments of fear and doubt, and also in the moments of sacredness and ceremony. So I think that's beautiful. But even in religion, like, there are so many beautiful elements in it, and it's honoring our inner truth. I think with everything you receive, also this podcast, feel within your heart what is true for you and what resonates with you. We're all unique divine expressions of unity, of love, and of wholeness, and it's understanding how we work within. So I loved also your universe, like it's going within and to discover who we are and be proud of that. And we don't have to be like the rest of the world. And so I think it's also beautiful, you're rebel, because sometimes we can then judge the rebel, but it was just your soul saying, no, this is not me. This, like, there's a different truth for me. And it's honoring, I think, also those moments where we feel like the contraction, or where we feel like the whole community is doing this, but I feel within my heart, this is my path, and to honor that. Yeah.
And you know, that actually makes me think of even when I was young too. I switched high schools because I didn't fit in with the clickiness and the gossip.
Yeah.
And so I was already on that journey, leaving jobs too that didn't align with me in my integrity, and really knowing that there was something, even though I wasn't conscious of it. I realize now that I was always guided. And then what happened though was that my journey has been about empowerment. And so I was always giving my power to others and placing more value on their words. Rather than my own, their opinions. And I married a very verbally abusive man, which makes sense because my dad didn't believe in anger. And so I was attracting anger because I didn't deal with my own anger within. And I do now know that the life on the outside is a mirror to what we are working on the inside. I get it now, but it took me a very, very long time to understand that. But I do know throughout the whole journey, as we consciously become more aligned with self, and maybe not knowing what the next step is, but honoring the sacred part of ourself, the soul that we are. And even if we take a step and then we make a mistake, that's okay. It's not a mistake. It's that we're recognizing that didn't work. And so you take the next step and you take the next step. And so we don't go from A to Z or 0 to 100. No, we just little micro steps, little tiny, there's like a million different things that lead us home.
Yeah, I love that. And it's again, saying yes to the experience and not judging. When you look through the lens of love, you welcome everything, and you and it also empowers you when you start to understand that the world mirrors our inner world. And yeah, for me, it's like in the teachings, like the inner garden. So our world is showing us like what are beautiful seeds in our inner garden and what are weeds and what is ready to transform. And that can even be like patterns we are not even aware of, because they can come from family lineages or collective systems, and sometimes even past lifetimes. But and I think that's beautiful, the empowerment journey, when we can be compassionate with ourselves and take, I think, also take responsibility for what is being triggered, what is being initiated, what is happening in our body, in our field. So much happens, and this deep fulfillment arises within us, but it's being willing to see from the purity of our being in all vulnerability, the aspects that we are. And I think it's beautiful, like how sometimes also our physical body is really giving us powerful signals. And I don't know how that is for you, but I noticed in my own journey when I had my chronic illness, and my body had been giving me messages for 10 years, but I wasn't ready to listen because I always found everyone else more important, and I was overgiving, overdoing. And most of the times it starts with very subtle, like feeling contracted or feeling a little bit tired, but we don't listen. And then the soul calling becomes louder and louder until at one point when it's ready, it will really knock on your door and take you to a halt. But it are these profound initiations, but it's also a calling to everyone tuning in. You don't have to let it come so far, I think. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what's so beautiful about now, though, is the people that are now becoming curious and everything too, are opening themselves up to, okay, what is this? What is this voice that I'm hearing? There are enough people now on this path that it is like through social media, which is actually, you know, can be very positive and it can do other things too. But for us, it's a very positive thing. So you can get your message out and I can begin to get my message out too, because as we become informed that every single thing on the outside that appears to be happening on the outside is actually for our greater good of remembering and evolving as the soul, and really opening our hearts so that we can experience love and then be love, that ripple, that wave, you know, that goes out to everybody. It becomes, the journey becomes, don't you think it becomes much more fascinating? Like, I love learning about me. Like, and it's not from a selfish way at all. It's from, in fact, I feel like now it's almost like my duty to serve my soul. I am that. I am the soul. I am integrating more of my sacred higher self, my true essence.
Yes.
And so it's very important. This is a really exciting time as we move into these new energies and people are like longing for something. And what they're longing for is themselves, you know, like to experience.
Oneness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they have it all within. We all do.
Yeah. I love that. It truly is.
Yeah. And you know, one night, I had something really cool happen. You know how sometimes maybe the same for you in between a dream, but not a dream, you know, you're aware, but you're in a different, you're not in the mind, the thinking mind. When I went and journeyed out into the universe, I had to go in first, and then the universe was there for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was going out to get to the universe. It was, I was going in, and then I was one with the universe.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but that's, I think, also for the collective, that's the invitation for now. Like we can be in these peaceful states in meditation, in these higher dimensions and higher realms, but we are being invited to anchor it into our body, into our everyday experience when we're doing the groceries, when we're standing on the schoolyard, or to be the embodiment of our divine self, because that is how we create the ripple. And I love, as you shared as well, like the profoundness that is within our body, within our field, the wisdom that is within us, but also the connectedness, because by doing the inner work, we are all one. You're helping the collective raise its vibration by, I always like to explain it very simple, like we can contribute. If you would see the collective field like a cloud, we can contribute with energies of fear, or we can contribute with energies of love. And that brings such a profound shift that goes beyond the human understanding. But what are you throughout your day contributing to this collective field? And when you choose love in every moment, that just changes your life, and you start to discover more of your magic and who you are. But in that way, you also get to hold space for more love for everyone around you, and to transform and for them to remember their divinity and their inner empowerment and their. So I love, as you, it truly is. It's such a grateful and deeply soul fulfilling journey to also get to know who we are and how our subtle energies work, because our emotions, our feelings, they're constantly talking to us, but we haven't been taught to listen to its messages. And it's almost like we get to know our language. It's like speaking a foreign language, but suddenly we are being invited to remember it and to co-create with all the elements and with all the, and it's really, but it also is inviting us to feel. And that's like, as you shared, we are so been taught that all the changes need to happen instantly, the gratifications, the confirmations, it needs to happen now, otherwise it's not working. No, sometimes these journeys, well, in the end, we're forever students of life, but these initiations can take 4 years, can take 10 years, and it's each time holding space. But we are so like, we're so conditioned for the quick fix. No, this little thing will help me and then I will feel good. But the moment the little thing is gone, how do you feel again? Do you feel more separate from yourself, or has it connected you more deeply? And that is like, we are being invited to become truthful to who we are in our heart, in every part, to feel emotions we have not wanted wanting to feel for many years, to come in harmony with all the elements of us, because that's what we're truly yearning for. And I love that you shared as well. It is the oneness. It's not out there. It's not in someone else or something, or when I have the job, when I have the husband or the partner, or when I have this or when I have this, then I will be happy. No, it is all within you. But are you ready to listen? Are you ready to witness every aspect of who you are? Because there's the next step, and there's the deep fulfillment we're yearning for. It's not there. It's not in things. It's not in, no, but it's also, I think it's not per se the most easy journey, because it would be easy if like that thing would make you happy, or that when you finally have that job, then your life would be amazing, because then it's like, that's a thing we can control. And this journey is like going into the sometimes uncontrollable, the being too much, being too loud, being too emotional, because there we get to truly discover who we are. So
That's
yes,
beautiful.
thank you for sparking that. There are so many beautiful things in that. Yes.
I know. And if I'm okay sharing, if you're okay with me sharing just a couple things that came to me as you were talking. Okay. So one was, the best advice I ever got was from one of my mentors, and her name is Crystal Hughes. And she said to me, Sherry, if you're so busy looking for what you want, like how I'm going to serve out there, like doing all these things, certification here, certification there, doing, my mind thinking this is what I need. She said, you're going to miss what my higher self and the divine is actually trying to bring in for me, because I'm going to be so out there. My projection, my mind is going to be outer focused. And when I took those words seriously, that's when your invitation came to me. That's when the summit came to me. That's when all these things started to open up for me, because I stopped doing almost everything on the outside and started really listening and then following, where am I being guided? And I was noticing like things that my mind would have never picked for me, like Christ Sophic consciousness, like what, that's all of a sudden is cool. I'm going there. Okay, that's where I'm going. And so, and then the other thing that's really important that you were saying is, as we're talking about our feelings, and I know the mind wants to sort through things and to almost regurgitate over and over and over and over again and stay on that wheel. What the invitation is to go into the body. And sometimes we don't feel it in the body right away because we've got so many distortions in the body. But what's beautiful is, as you connect with your breath and think, this is the breath of spirit that breathes life into me. This is sacred. My breath is sacred. So that's all it takes. In an instant, we can go back to the sacred soul that we are. And that's intention. It's attention. It's magic.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, it truly is. And it brings you in a state of gratitude as well, because sometimes life can be challenging and then it's hard to find things to be grateful for. But your breath, I love that. That's a beautiful, and what I notice as well, when we create these sacred elements or anchors for ourselves, and we consciously breathe in that way, breathing in life force energy and feeling the gratitude, as you practice that daily, it also becomes your new norm. And then suddenly, each time you breathe, your body will remember the sacredness. And it's almost like creating elements or anchors for ourselves, right? As you shared, I was thinking about that. When you do that very consciously for a couple of weeks, your body suddenly knows. And each time when you breathe, you will feel the abundance, you will feel the love, you will feel the expansion. And I love that. And
exactly.
also,
and then, sorry.
No,
go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, it's such an exciting conversation though, right? Because this is when we get to experience ourselves as soul. The eyes, then, after you take those few breaths and you connect with the breath of spirit, which is your spirit, and then you look through the lens of the eyes on the outside and see through the lens of the divine. What is it that are my soul? What am I seeing? Everything changes.
Yes.
But it is a conscious intention. Like we have to, it's almost like this is the initiation is actually the beginning is showing up for ourselves and saying, I want, this is how I would like to experience my life as the sacred soul that I am.
Yeah.
And because you know what, Kim, and everybody listening, we all know that we go through difficulties no matter what. So wouldn't you rather go through a difficult time in your life being connected?
Yes. Yeah.
Resourced.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Then scattered and your energy's everywhere. And where am I? I'm out there in a million pieces.
Yeah. No.
It's like bring you back in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, for me, it has always been building this foundation of love within myself, because that creates the resilience, and that also allows my gifts and talents to awaken and those of others. And then we feel supported from within, that the next time an initiation comes or a challenge, we know we are supported and we are equipped to handle whatever comes on our path and to discover the wisdom, because there's always wisdom to discover when we get challenged, when we get activated, when we get triggered. There is something for us, like for me, it always feels like parts of my soul that I'm recollecting in beautiful ways, and I'm remembering it. It's coming back into wholeness and oneness, but we need to see it, and that's taking responsibility for everything that happens through our own divinity, not from the judgment place, but from the place of love. Because in the end, that's what we can say it's out there, but then we will always stay in that dynamic. And when we choose to take responsibility through love, things really start to shift, instead of us repeating the cycles over and over again in different ways. No, we, at the root, we start to transform our lives. We start to elevate every part of us, and in that, new things open. And I also love that you shared, when you said yes to you, beautiful things opened up, but it was you trusting, you centering, you connecting, and then things open up that you couldn't even imagine with your mind. Because a lot of times our mind tries to control, but it also limits us to experiences we already had or things we already know. And we are here co-creating and pioneering a new earth, creating things beyond our wildest dreams. But that is also inviting us to let go of control, to really surrender and allow the divine to go to work through us and co-create with us in beautiful ways. So yeah, it's also a journey of braveness, of the heart, of, yeah.
It is, because even I wrote about the warrior.
Yes. Yes.
Like the sacred warrior, though, that's so different than the one that's out there fighting something. It's like standing for yourself first, like for your cause, which is you.
Yes.
You know, we're all doing that. We're all taking that journey of discovering who am I really, which is love. But we have to go through, and an expression, each one of us is an expression of the divine. So how have you been created to be? Which is so beautiful, because none of us are in competition.
No.
Because the divine has uniquely created us to be something. Even if we're doing the same thing, we're doing it in a different way, that the divine flows through us.
Yeah, it truly is. Yeah, all from our unique perspective, in our unique way. And because we're all in our unique way, I believe most of us are on this journey of anchoring love and empowering people through love, the divine. But it's you using your words and using your gifts and talents, and me, mine, and everything. Like, it's stepping again also in this space of oneness. It's like this divine puzzle. And when we all take our place, we get this amazing creation. And that's the same with our book. It's like everyone sharing their empowering voice, their empowering mission and words. But it is the totality that makes the amazingness. It's like we felt like everyone was so aligned to be part of it. It couldn't be one more or one less, or it was just this divinely creation, and together it was this beautiful, empowering masterpiece. So it's again trusting the unfolding of things, and yeah, I love that.
It really was too, because when you approached me, it was towards the deadline already, and normally my personal self would have been like going into panic mode and think, well, I have to admit that I did sort of go there for a few moments. But then as soon as I, intentionally connected, which is always within me anyway, that chapter wrote itself. It was waiting to be written because it was part of my journey.
Yeah.
And then by using the heroine's journey and even going into what is a sacred warrior, what does that really mean? And seeing that each one of us is actually, when you go and look at your life, if you go and look at the definition, you will see that we are all, each one of us is being called to that.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, it really is. I never heard of it in a way. So I loved as I read your story and your chapter, it really inspired me. But we are all in our own unique way are going through that journey. And it's also, I think for everyone tuning in, it's knowing that each time we say yes to something new or something exciting or a new adventure, there will be a moment of a little, I also have that with each new thing, each new adventure, there's a little moment of doubt or fear of my mind saying, okay, should you do this? And sometimes deep rooted energies come up, but then it's knowing again that we have the tools, knowing this inner calling, this deeper truth within us that will guide us past the limitations, because otherwise we will keep repeating the past. And it's really about our soul yearning expansion, yearning growth, yearning new experiences to deeper remember. Yeah,
absolutely. And I heard somebody say, I think it was Grace Galzagori say, and this is the truth. Even for the summit, when I was doing it, with all the recordings with you and everybody else, I thought at first I was doing the summit just because that's what I was being called to.
Yes.
But what I discovered was each one of you, every single one of you, was a messenger and had wisdom for me and brought me even deeper and deeper into that heart space, into my heart opening even further and becoming even more love. And so, even as you were sharing, sometimes we make a decision and it's scary. But I can tell you, one of the things during this time was I had to make a decision that kind of went against something I had been advised on. And I really, it was like, I told you my journey is about empowerment, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what I decided was, had I listened to that and not followed the call of my heart, the call of the divine, I would have gone and left this earth plane, which is another very important thing, is that we need to realize that we are the soul. And so every single experience, every single thing is leading us. When we leave, it's like, who was it that I was? How did I show up in the world? So I made that decision that as much as I valued that, I needed to follow the call of my heart. So the call of the divine leading me, guiding me.
Yeah.
And so that was part of my empowerment, because I can tell you energy opened again.
Yes.
Because I went against something my personal self was like, what are you doing? That's not safe.
Yeah.
In fact, it was almost something that could have probably ensured next steps for me. But I trust my heart more than any other thing outside me now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And that's the most important thing. But then again, it's about feeling empowered and having the confidence to do so. And each time, because that's also what I noticed on my own journey, we see the reward. We see the profoundness that opens up. And sometimes it's immediately, and sometimes it's in a couple of weeks or years that we suddenly see the effect of the decision we chose with our hearts and how that ripples out in many different ways. So I honor you for that, yes, and also for the sacredness of the summit. And it depends on when you're tuning into this, but today it's 15 November 2023, and the summit is going live next week on New Earth One Network. Maybe you want to share a little bit as we're closing up about the summit and inviting people to tune in and connect.
Sure. Well, you are one of the speakers, and the beautiful hearts that was there that I was able to hold sacred conversation with. And yes, it's called Legacy of Love, the return of the divine cosmic mother. And something happened in my journey too, where I recognized, like, wait a minute, the divine isn't just masculine. And the mother was coming in for me, and she's speaking, like I can feel her rising up. And I heard the beautiful teaching. Michael Murdad was the first person I heard say this, but I think there's many that share the same thing, is that the divine mother is the Holy Spirit, but she moves up through us through the Kundalini, through the chakras. And if we surrender to the divine mother, she will make that transition, because that can be very difficult And so as we surrender to the Divine Mother, she can guide us on our journey. So the legacy of love is basically everybody sharing their unique, bringing your soul into the conversation, your divine self into the conversation. And so everybody brought different pieces in, and it was beautiful. And even, during the summit, when I first started, I was still needing eye surgery. I was still sort of like, and I can see that in some of the episodes where I was like still kind of struggling. And, but there was such a beautiful gift in all of it unfolded in just the way it was supposed to. But again, I discovered, so those that listen carefully for the message that is within each single person that I talked to. Like, you had a beautiful message, you had a healing that you took us through. Everybody has something. We all do. Everybody listening has something.
Yes.
That you have within that is a gift to all of us.
Yeah.
And so the legacy is, what is our gift? What is our legacy? What is your gift?
Yes.
To those that are listening, what is your gift?
Thank you. I think that's a beautiful energy to close with, and a sacred invitation to check and to join us. And I will share the link of the summit as well below, and I think it will also be available on replay, but I don't know for sure. But check it whenever you are tuning into this, in whatever time and space, check it in the links below. And I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom, your energy, your code, because again, there's so much more being said behind these words, and it's just you receiving everything that is in alignment with your soul and your purpose and your mission and next step. So thank you, Sherry Lynn, for sharing, for being you, and everyone tuning in. Thank you for listening and being on your journey. And we truly see you and honor you. And we know it's not always easy, but together, empowered by love, we can handle whatever comes on our path to create a beautiful world, not only for ourselves, but also everyone around us. So for now, I want to say namaste and thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next Soul Love podcast. Much love. Bye.
Much love, everybody. Bye. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.